Life will test your patience, push your buttons, and throw distractions your way. People will say things that don't sit right, situations will unfold that feel unfair, and not everything will go as planned. But the real question is, are you going to let every little thing disturb your peace, or will you learn to train yourself to be unbothered? Being unbothered isn't about pretending life doesn't exist or acting like nothing matters. It's about knowing how to respond instead of react. Life is never going to give you a perfect set of circumstances. People will frustrate you, things will not always go your way, and unexpected challenges will show up when you least want them to. If your peace depends on everything outside of you working in your favor, then you will never experience true peace. Training yourself to be unbothered means you take ownership of your state of mind and you learn that your reaction is the only thing you can really control. When someone says something you don't like, your first instinct may be to argue, to defend, or to fight back, but in reality, that person has no control over your emotions unless you hand it to them. The pause between what happens and how you respond is where your power lives. That pause is the difference between reacting with anger and responding with calm. It's in that moment you decide whether you give away your energy or you hold onto it. Think about how often people waste hours, even days, replaying an argument in their heads, thinking about what they should have said, getting worked up over something that doesn't actually change their life. That is being bothered, and it robs you of focus, time, and joy. Being unbothered doesn't mean you never feel emotion. It means you acknowledge the emotion, but don't let it drive the car. You can feel frustrated and still choose not to lash out. You can feel disappointed and still choose not to give up. That's the training part because it doesn't come naturally. Our natural instinct is to defend, to fight back, to prove a point. Training yourself means building the muscle of self-control so that when the moment comes, you are ready to handle it differently. It's just like going to the gym. You don't build strength overnight. You practice, you fail sometimes, you push through resistance, but over time, the weight that once felt heavy becomes easier to carry. The same is true with being unbothered. The more you practice letting go of unnecessary battles, the more natural it becomes. Instead of wasting energy on things that don't matter, you redirect that energy into things that actually move your life forward. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how much access they have to your emotions. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control how you carry yourself through it. When you train yourself to be unbothered, you begin to notice how much lighter you feel. You stop rushing to defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you. You stop overthinking every comment or every glance. You stop living at the mercy of other people's moods. Suddenly, you are free to focus on what really matters. And here's the truth. Most of the things that bother us today will not matter in 5 years, 5 months, or even 5 days. But in the moment, they feel massive because we give them too much weight. The discipline is reminding yourself that not everything deserves your reaction. When you let go of the small battles, you save your strength for the big ones. You stop living reactive and you start living intentional. Your peace is your responsibility because no one else can protect it for you. People will always have opinions, life will always present challenges, and circumstances will shift without asking your permission. If you wait for everything outside of you to line up perfectly before you feel calm, you'll be waiting your entire life. Taking responsibility for your peace means realizing that you don't get to control the world, but you do get to control what you let into your inner world. That's a choice only you can make. Too often, we hand our peace over to people who haven't earned it. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and suddenly your entire morning is ruined. Someone leaves a negative comment online, and now you're replaying it in your head instead of focusing on the good in your life. That is giving away your peace for free, and it's costing you energy you could use to build yourself, to love your family, or to move closer to your goals. Peace doesn't mean everything is quiet around you. It means everything is steady inside you. When you train yourself to hold on to peace, you start to see how unnecessary it is to match everyone else's chaos. You don't have to join every argument you're invited to. You don't have to prove yourself in every conversation. You don't have to meet anger with anger or gossip with gossip. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it's strength. It's deciding that you value your emotional energy too much to spend it on things that don't grow you. That requires self-awareness. It requires asking yourself, does this actually deserve my attention, or am I just reacting out of habit? Most of the time, we're not protecting our peace because we're stuck in the cycle of reacting. Breaking that cycle is where the training begins. Every time you catch yourself about to lose your cool, you have a choice. You can hand your peace over to that moment, or you can take a step back and hold on to it. The more you choose the second option, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it's not even a battle anymore because protecting your peace becomes part of who you are. But this only happens when you take ownership of it. No one else can do it for you. Waiting for people to change, waiting for circumstances to be perfect, waiting for life to stop being unfair, none of that will ever give you peace. You have to build it, protect it, and guard it yourself. And this isn't just about the little daily annoyances. It's also about the bigger moments in life. When someone you love disappoints you, when opportunities fall through, when the future feels uncertain, your peace will be tested in ways that shake your foundation. In those moments, responsibility becomes even more important because peace is not found in what happens to you. It's found in how you handle what happens. That's why it's your job to nurture it daily, like a muscle that gets stronger with use. If you only practice peace when life is easy, you won't be ready when life gets hard. Responsibility means staying consistent even when it's inconvenient. The truth is, there will always be people who don't understand you, who misjudge you, who try to drag you into their storms. If you let them, they'll pull you down to their level every time. But if you've taken responsibility for your peace, you can walk away without guilt. You can choose silence without weakness, and you can live calm without apology. That is the power of owning your peace, because when it's yours, no one can take it without your permission. Not every comment, opinion, or action requires your reaction, and the sooner you understand this, the more control you'll gain over your life. We live in a world where everyone feels entitled to share their thoughts about everything you do, how you look, how you speak, how you live. If you try to respond to every single one of them, you'll spend your entire life defending yourself instead of living. There's freedom in realizing that silence is sometimes the strongest response you can give. Not every situation deserves your energy. Not every opinion needs to be addressed, and not every action against you has to be answered. When you learn to stop chasing every spark, you prevent unnecessary fires from starting. Most people live reactive. Someone says something insulting and they fire back. Someone disagrees with them and they feel the need to argue until the other person gives in. But here's the problem. The more you react, the more control you give away. Reactions keep you stuck in cycles where the other person decides your mood, your focus, your peace. That's why choosing not to react is so powerful. It's not about being passive, it's about being intentional. You're deciding that your attention is too valuable to be spent on things that don't elevate you. You're showing yourself that you don't need the last word to know your worth. Think about how many times you've replayed a conversation in your head, crafting the perfect comeback you wish you had said. All that mental energy wasted on words that won't change the past. Choosing not to react saves you from that trap. It allows you to keep your energy directed toward your goals, your growth, your purpose. When you don't give power to every comment or action, you become harder to shake. You start to notice that the noise doesn't hit you the same way anymore because you've trained yourself to separate what matters from what doesn't. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means you learn the difference between what deserves your voice and what doesn't. There are battles worth fighting, moments worth standing up, conversations worth having, but not every single opinion qualifies as one of those moments. Some things are better left unanswered, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Wisdom knows when silence is more powerful than words. Wisdom knows that people's comments often reflect their own struggles, not your reality. Wisdom knows that reacting to every little thing drains you of the energy you need for the bigger things. When you practice this, you'll notice your relationships change too. Arguments that used to spiral out of control don't escalate because you don't fuel them. People who once thrived on your reaction don't get the satisfaction anymore. The atmosphere shifts when you decide not to play into the drama. You don't get pulled into gossip circles. You don't get caught in pointless debates. You don't get trapped in endless back and forths that never lead to growth. You step out of that cycle and step into a calmer, stronger version of yourself. It takes discipline to do this because your ego will want to jump in. Your pride will tell you to clap back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But you don't have to prove anything to anyone who doesn't truly know you. Your character proves itself over time. Your actions speak louder than words, and your peace is worth more than any argument. Every time you choose not to react, you're reminding yourself that you are in control, not them. You're building strength on the inside that no one else can take away. Self-control is strength, and calm is power, because anyone can lose their temper, but not everyone can keep their composure when life pushes against them. Think about it. Losing control is easy. Yelling back is easy. Letting anger spill out is easy. But easy doesn't make you strong. Strength is choosing restraint when you could explode. Strength is breathing through the moment instead of letting the moment control you. Calm is not passive. Calm is not weakness. Calm is the ability to hold steady when everything around you is shaking. That is real power because it keeps you in charge of yourself when everyone else is trying to pull you out of character. When you stay calm, you gain clarity. Decisions made in anger almost never lead you where you want to go. Words spoken in frustration can't be taken back, and actions taken out of impulse often create regrets that last far longer than the moment. But calm gives you space to think, to respond with intention instead of reaction. It lets you see the bigger picture and recognize that not every hill is worth dying on. That calmness becomes a shield that keeps you from being dragged into battles that don't serve you. It's not about ignoring problems, it's about handling them with wisdom instead of letting them handle you. The people who look the strongest are often the ones who know how to control themselves, not the ones who make the most noise. Calm people carry authority because their presence alone changes the atmosphere. They don't have to prove their worth in every conversation because their steadiness speaks for them. When you walk into a situation with calmness, people notice. They may not admit it, but they respect it because calm under pressure is rare. It shows discipline, it shows maturity, it shows that you've trained yourself not to be ruled by emotions, but by principles. This doesn't mean you never feel anger or frustration. It means you don't let those feelings dictate your behavior. You acknowledge them, you sit with them, but you don't hand them the steering wheel. That's what separates strength from weakness. Weakness is letting anger drive you. Strength is letting calm guide you. Every time you choose calm, you are teaching yourself to be the leader of your own emotions instead of the follower of everyone else's chaos. That practice builds resilience because once you realize you can stay calm in the small things, you're preparing yourself for the bigger storms ahead. The truth is, calm people win more often because they aren't distracted by emotional reactions. They see opportunities others miss because they're not blinded by anger. They make choices based on strategy instead of ego. They preserve relationships that others would have destroyed with harsh words. They hold influence in conversations because they don't let frustration cloud their message. That's why calm is power. It allows you to operate from a position of control instead of surrendering to the heat of the moment. Self-control is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels difficult. You'll want to snap back. You'll want to raise your voice. You'll want to prove your point. But the longer you resist that impulse, the more natural it becomes to hold steady. Over time, what once took all your energy becomes second nature. You realize you don't have to engage in every fight to prove your strength. You realize the person who stays calm actually has the upper hand because they dictate the tone of the interaction. Self-control keeps your peace intact, and calm allows you to move forward without being weighed down by unnecessary drama. The more unbothered you are, the clearer your focus and the stronger your direction in life, because distraction is the biggest thief of growth. Every time you let small things pull you out of character, every time you waste energy on opinions that don't matter, every time you get caught up in petty arguments, you are stepping off the path of where you want to go. Being unbothered doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It means you've trained yourself to care deeply about the right things. It means you know your priorities and you don't let noise rearrange them. When you stop giving attention to things that don't build you, you free up energy to pour into the things that actually move your life forward. Clarity comes when you remove distractions. If your mind is constantly occupied with what someone said about you, if your emotions are constantly reacting to negativity, then your vision is clouded. You can't see where you're headed because you're too focused on what's happening around you. But when you choose to be unbothered, that fog lifts. Suddenly your goals look sharper, your values become clearer, and your steps become more intentional. You stop wasting time trying to fight battles that lead nowhere, and instead you invest that time in building the future you want. The direction you've been searching for doesn't come from reacting to everything. It comes from focusing on what matters most. Strength grows when you stop letting outside forces dictate your inside world. Every time you decide not to react to something small, you're strengthening your focus. Every time you choose to walk away from something that doesn't align with your purpose, you're proving to yourself that your discipline is greater than your impulses. That strength builds momentum, and momentum creates progress. When you are unbothered, you are not wasting your energy defending yourself. You're using it to define yourself. You're not caught up in proving people wrong. You're focused on proving yourself right by becoming who you're meant to be. This is why unbothered people often look more confident. Their confidence doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from direction. They know where they're going, so they don't have to stop and answer every voice along the way. Think of it like driving on a highway. If you stopped to argue with everyone honking at you, you'd never reach your destination. The stronger your direction, the easier it is to keep moving forward no matter what noise surrounds you. That is the gift of being unbothered. You no longer measure your worth by the interruptions of others. You measure it by the progress you're making toward your purpose. And it doesn't just affect your goals, it changes your relationships too. When you're unbothered, you listen better because you're not busy defending yourself. You connect deeper because you're not distracted by irrelevant noise. You build stronger bonds because you know what deserves your energy and what doesn't. People feel safer around you because your calm creates stability, and stability is rare in a world full of chaos. The clarity and strength you carry will naturally influence others, not because you force it, but because people can feel the steadiness of someone who refuses to be moved by distractions. Living unbothered gives you freedom. Freedom from carrying the weight of other people's opinions, freedom from wasting energy on meaningless conflicts, freedom from the constant cycle of reaction. That freedom sharpens your vision. It strengthens your purpose, and it gives you the stamina to keep walking your path even when the road gets tough. The more you protect that unbothered state of mind, the more unstoppable you become because nothing outside of you has the power to pull you away from what's inside of you.